had the name. What got me to Tennessee was I did meet Carol Freeman, and he did call me afterwards. He was like, I'm not supposed to say this, but we are holding a spot for you because we really, really like you. That's all I'm gonna say. And I was like, okay. And what Tennessee offered was they had a studio program that went in conjunction with their opera company, because they have an opera company in Knoxville called the Knoxville Opera Company. And so what they do for incoming grad students, depending on how many spots they have, you can be in their opera studio, which means that while you're getting your education in grad school, you're going to be getting roles with this professional opera company. And I was like, ooh. And they had two voice teachers there also that I really liked. One was Andrew Winslow, who was a bass baritone that was in my voice type, because I'm a baritone and he's a bass baritone. And he had a very prominent career. He had an opportunity to go sing at the Metropolitan Opera. So he had that performance aspect, which is what I was looking for because I wanted to have a performance career. So I knew he had that. And then the other one was this short little Greek tenor named George Bitzes, who I had a lesson with both of them, and something just sparked with Mr. Bitzes. And Mr. Winslow, just like Carol when I was there, did come to me and say, I just want you to know I'm holding a spot in my studio because I'd really like to work with you. And I was like, okay. And by that point, I was already thinking, I think I'm going to study with George Bitzes. I know Mr. Winslow wants me. And so I talked with the opera coach, the coach companies there, and he said, have you made any decisions yet? And I was like, I think I'm going to go with Mr. Bitzes. And he was like, it's a very wise decision. Mr. Winslow probably won't be, he'll probably be disappointed, but he'll understand. He's like, I think you're making a good decision. And it was the best decision I could have made.
Well, all this turned out really good for you, basically. Like, everything is just like divine order. I feel like it's to make a movie out of your life. But do we have like a big plan? I know you said you've been doing music for what, 23 years, you said?
Yeah.
So do you have like this is the goal? Because, some people have a goal, but is it just like, I'm just, getting what life gives?
As I've gotten older, the goal has changed. When I was younger, when you're a young singer, yeah, everyone has, if you are a performer, everyone has aspirations of performing on the world's biggest stages and the biggest companies. The Metropolitan Opera in New York is the largest company and the most prominent. La Scala in Europe is the most prominent there. So yeah, you think, I would love to sing on those stages, at least I did. And then as you get older and you get things or you don't get things, and you realize how tough it really is in this business. I mean, there are literally thousands of singers and only a handful of opera companies. So, so whenever I tell people I'm a singer, they automatically put me at the top of my profession. I'm like, my profession is just like any other profession. Really, only the 1 or 2% of us really make it, and the rest are just somewhere in the middle. I'm most grateful of what I've gotten, and I easily can look at my colleagues who are much more successful than I am, but I would love to be where they are. But it's all about chance. It really is. It doesn't mean you're not good enough or you didn't try hard enough. It's just about having that one opportunity that somebody gives you that enough people see to go, oh yeah, and then we want to hire you for this and that. Yeah.
Do you have anyone that your goals to work with? And whether it be just a company or whether it be a specific person?
Well, I mean, we know that there are famous conductors all over the place that you go, oh, I'd really be interested in working with them. Or famous stage directors, and obviously companies as well. I mean, I would be lying if I didn't say I wanted to sing in the Metropolitan Opera, just because it's the Met. And to be able to put that on your resume, you can only get into everything else after that. I had a friend who just made her Met debut last year. And it doesn't matter whether it's a small role or whatever, once that's on your resume, it's there. Other companies are going to see it, smaller companies. It's important to know that there are international companies and regional companies is what it comes down to. Your international companies are what we call your level A companies, like the Metropolitan, Lyric of Chicago, Houston Grand, Seattle, Washington National, Florida Grand Opera. Those are because they have high budgets, $10 million plus a year, whatever. And then you have your regional companies. Like in here, Chicago has two big companies. You have the Lyric Opera Chicago, which is an international company, and then you have Chicago Opera Theater, which is a regional company. That's a company I've worked with several times. They're just smaller companies, smaller budgets, but still will still have international singers and singers who sung at these other big companies as well. So yeah, I would love to sing at the Met. I would love to sing at the Lyric Opera Chicago. I would love to get another A-level company on my resume. I have Florida Grand Opera, but I would love to get one of those two, or any other ones, obviously. In terms of directors, you know, I can say now that I've worked with two of the biggest conductors, excuse me. I've worked with two of the biggest conductors in the world. Ricardo Muti, who is the music director of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. Even though I've worked with him as a chorus member, I've worked with him.
Resume.
Yeah, and then James Levine, who was the music director for the Metropolitan Opera for like the last 30 years. Yes, there's been some controversy with him, and he's no longer there, but his name is still recognizable, and to be able to say that you have him, and I can actually put him on my resume because I sang the last movement of Haydn's The Creation at Ravinia 2 summers ago with him conducting, and I was the bass soloist for that. So I have him on my resume.
Resume.
Yes.
Okay, so as an opera singer, do you think you can mold into different genres?
Because I have a friend who's a rapper who's actually talked to me about collaborating together. We worked together at a restaurant many years ago, and we still remain friends. And he's got his own studio and everything today. And he's said several times, he's like, I'd like to come up with something where I can put you on there. But to answer your question, yes, I can switch over to other genres. Some singers are better at it than others. It just depends on the type of voice you have and the background you're coming from. Some people are able to make that switch into maybe gospel or pop and not sound too classically trained. I'm the first to admit I'm limited in that because I really went all in to classical music. That's what I like. But because I rapped, and I started off that, I can do that. I don't necessarily have any interest in doing the pop version. Gospel's not really my thing either. I'll listen to it, but I'm not necessarily going to sing it. But yeah.
That being said, as somebody who's trying to work with you, if they are trying to do something, what do you look for in different companies or different conductors or anything collaborating wise?
In opera companies, how they treat people first and foremost. I've worked with so many conductors who don't necessarily respect the singer. They just want to put out a good product, and they don't give the singer a lot of artistic freedom because they have it in their heads how they think it should go. And that to me is not a collaboration. That's the singer showing how flexible they are. Because one thing that we learn as young singers in a performance is like you want to come prepared and be able to do it multiple different ways. You don't want to just be to sing the phrase this one way, because the conductor might say, I needed more legato, I needed more this way. Can you emphasize this word more? So we have to be the most flexible people in the production. The instrumentalists, not taking anything away from them, but the conductor's going to tell them, this is what I need, boom, 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 boom. And they do it. With us, we have to be able to change something on a dime. So if I work with a conductor that is respectful and is going to allow me to explore during that rehearsal process, then I know that they get it. And I work with conductors that have done, we have what we call it in our world, the opera, the opera repertoire, meaning operas that are always done. Like La Boheme is the #1 most done opera in the world. It's probably done 7 or 8 times a year throughout the country at least. So I've done it twice, and if I go with a conductor that's done it 15 times, are they going to come and say, oh, well, this is built, this is where I want you to sing Marcello, like this, this, and this, and they're not going to give me that artistic freedom? I'm like, yeah, we're not going to have a great collaboration. But if they go, I like how you do that, I've always thought of it this way, but I like your way as well, that's when you've got a good conductor. And then the preparation.
Do you recommend mentorship to anyone who's trying to work through opera work?
If it's somebody that knows the business, that's been around, their goal is only to help you and to guide you. And I've had a couple of mentors. One who gave me my first professional job, who I had sung for when I was in undergrad, and he actually said to me, he was like, the reason I hired you for this was because you did something that, you remember something that I said, and I see so many singers forget. You stayed in touch with me. Because remember, this is in the 90s, so, you know, we weren't texting each other. Email was just kind of out, so it was usually like a phone call, and I would just usually call it, "Hi Thomas, this is Bill, I just finished such and such, blah, blah, blah." So, yeah, when you've got somebody that's wanting to help you and guide you, that's a good thing, because they're only going to bring their experience to the table and hopefully keep you from making mistakes that they've seen happen before.
It's something that I think is very much elitist field that is not easily accessible. So any tips that you can offer somebody might help them.
I would say to anybody thinking about or wanting to pursue opera, you have to be 100% in. It can't be, I like opera, but I also like drawing, or I'm really interested in working with young kids. In my experience, I've not seen anyone successfully combine the two of otherwise. Either you're going to be a professional opera singer and travel around the world and make this living, or you want to be that type of person that wants to have a family and be a homebody. Those two don't work. Everybody who I know, you know, who even has a family, they usually have somebody else taking care of the children if they're working full time as an opera singer. It can be done, but you're going to be that absentee parent. And if you're okay with that, by all means, go for it. And I'm just talking about if you want a family aspect. You have to be 100% passionate about it. You want to study it, learn its history, learn the singers that have come before you, who have paved the way, whether it's African American singers in my case, or Latin. You know, opera singing is not about a hobby, or, you know, just something you do on the side. It's because there's so much to learn about it, and you spend so many years in school learning, you know, all these things that were only going to help you: languages, ear training, history, diction, the whole thing, your technique, your body. You know, a lot of people don't realize how much we learn about our bodies and how we produce sound. So it's an all-in type field. You can't be, I'm going to do this on the weekends and then the other days I'm just going to have my day job. It doesn't work like that.
Keine schöne Welt, schöne Welt. Sieh, schön Musik, wie mir doch die Welt gefällt.